Hi everyone, I'm Emily Fink, and for this discussion post, I wanted to take a look at Gordon Moore, who was the co-founder of Intel, and the person behind what became known as Moore's Law. So I chose Moore because his career really reflects one of the biggest economic shifts in post-war America, and that was the transition from the manufacturing-based economy that we saw around World War II into one that's really driven by technology and innovation. So Moore earned his PhD in chemistry just before joining the Fairchild Semiconductor in the late 1950s. And in 1968, he and a man named Robert Noyce co-founded Intel, which very quickly became one of the most influential technology companies in the world. So a few years earlier, in 1965, Moore published an article predicting that the number of components on an integrated circuit would continue to double while becoming less expensive over time. And that prediction just eventually became what is known as Moore's Law. And what that did is it guided the semiconductor industry for decades. So one of the primary sources that I consulted was actually Moore's original 1965 article that explains this, which was titled Cramming More Components Onto Integrated Circuits. What stood out to me from this particular primary source was that Moore wasn't just predicting these faster computers, he actually envisioned a future in which electronics would become smaller and more affordable, even integrated into everyday life. So looking back from where we are today, it's actually pretty remarkable how accurate that prediction proved to be. I also took a look at Intel's 1971 annual report. And what that did was provided a snapshot of the company's very rapid growth during its early years. So the report discusses Intel's expansion into international markets, even investment into new manufacturing facilities, and the introduction of very innovative memory products and the MCS4 processor. Wanted to make sure I get that right. And all of these working together, these are little developments that really illustrate how quickly Intel became a leader in the emerging technology industry. One of the ideas that I found the most interesting was from author Leslie Berlin's book, The Man Behind the Microchip. And she explains that Gordon Moore and Robert Noyce, they helped to create a company culture that was built around collaboration and innovation. What they really wanted to focus on was giving engineers the freedom to experiment. And that management style became one of the defining characteristics of Silicon Valley and actually helped to establish a model that many technology companies are still using today. Paul Romer's article also really helped to frame more significance for me because Romer argues that long-term economic growth doesn't just come from these physical resources, but also from new ideas and technological innovation. So I think that Gordon Moore's career is an excellent example of that because his work didn't just improve one specific product or one company, but it actually is influencing, or rather influenced, countless industries, and in my opinion, helped to accelerate the growth of the digital economy. So, looking at his career as a whole, I think that Gordon Moore's experience really does reflect many of the broader demographic and economic changes that helped to shape post war America. So, as companies like Intel and the growth of Silicon Valley and all of these corporations expanded, they're creating a demand for highly educated scientists and highly educated engineers, and that's really contributing to the growth of places such as Silicon Valley. Moreover, it also contributes to the growth of the United States toward a more knowledge-based economy. So I believe that Moore's story demonstrates how just one entrepreneur's vision and their innovation can influence not just a single industry, not just technology, but really the direction of the American economy as a whole. Thank you.